Men need an obsession. This is something I've accepted. I'm creeping up on 50 years of life, and I want to talk about a few things that I've learned. Maybe I can help out some young guys. I'm basically just talking to my younger self here. If you're adrift and you're just marking time and you're just grinding, it's day in, day out, work, rest, home. If the days are just getting by, if they're just passing you by and you're just apathetic, you're completely bummed out, you're sitting there, you're fat, you're not doing anything other than surviving, what you need is more things to do, not less. You need to, a long time ago, it was figured out or assigned that there's 24 hours in the day, and you got 8 hours for sleep, 8 hours for work, 8 hours for what we may, right? So a third of your life, assuming you're only working 8 hours a day, is up for you to decide what to do with it, to fill it, okay? Now, the best advice I have for you is to make your job or your leisure activity, one or the other, it doesn't really matter, one or the other needs to be masculine and dangerous. Something that has risk to it, something like riding motorcycles or shooting or hiking, like climbing, that kind of thing. If you want to make that your job, that's fine. Those are high-paying jobs. The more dangerous a job is, generally, the better it pays. You know, that's why underwater welders make whatever the hell they make, $500 an hour, that kind of thing. One or the other, your job or your pastime, you need to do something that's masculine and dangerous. See, life is, it's easiest to think of it as a video game, an old school left to right platformer, right, where you're kind of swinging vine to vine, or like Spider-Manning down the street, web to web, okay? Each web, each vine is an opportunity. If you never strive, you'll just stay at the exact same altitude, at the same biome. But you know how in some games, like, you'll do a thing and you'll realize, oh my god, the game is actually twice as big as I thought it was. Like an Elden Ring, right? When you want to uncover the underground. That's how life is. You'll unlock certain things and make realizations where you're like, oh, there's way, way, way more to life than I thought. I thought it was just this misery level that I was at. But you can't get up and up and up out into the clouds like this, you know, where you just break free into a completely different reality. You can't do that without reaching, without trying, without risking failure. You might fall. You might go for a branch or a vine and you just completely eat it. And you bing bong down, you know, your way down some trees until you flail around and you catch, you know, whatever you can get your hold of. And you might hit all the way, you might go all the way to the ground. You might go back to zero. That's what happened to me with my motorcycle crash. I was on the dirt with like a quarter heart health left for 2 years. But the clock doesn't stop ticking. The game doesn't stop rolling. It doesn't stop until you die. And and you can accept a low-level life down on the dirt. You can even turn it into something wonderful and beautiful. Like I kind of see bushcrafters this way, the guys that just go out and they you know, their whole thing is just making fire and purifying water with, you know, the barest of components, and then they sit on that dirt and then they just kind of hyper focus in on that aspect of reality. You can do that, but if you want to see the clouds, if you want to see how high you can go, you have to reach. You have to try. Like, you think of the vines as different careers, different phases of your life, that kind of thing. And you gotta climb. Sometimes you'll get that higher vine, but you'll smack into a tree, and you gotta kind of climb up tooth and nail to the next platform, and then from there you can springboard off, up and up. I'm going too far with this metaphor. You have to try. If you never strive, you won't. You know, no angel is going to come down from the sky and just recognize what a great person you are on the inside and just be like, "Oh, you don't belong here. You're a rich person on the inside. So we're just going to carry you up and just bestow, you know, the land of milk and honey unto you." That's not how it works. You get in, you get out what you put in. The easiest way to do this, and this was the biggest change in my life, was finding a job that I loved and realizing how different life is when you actually like your job. I think that's the most important thing. Find a job you actually love, and it might not pay well at the beginning, but you have to turn it into your passion. You have to let it drive you. And eventually, it will become a career. Like, you can become a super expert on a very niche thing. You know, like you see, you know, guys on YouTube that make, you know, leather armor, like handmade leather armor. Those things sell for thousands of dollars. You know, but it took a lot of grind to get there. There is no shortcut. Everybody wants to just be an influencer or win the lotto or gamble. Like, you're looking for a shortcut, and if you happen to hit, you won't appreciate it, and you'll piss it away. You'll self-sabotage and ruin it and piss it all away. So find a career, find your passion. You have to find your passion, okay? You need to find your obsession. Do you remember when you were younger and you got super into whatever it was and it just consumed you? Like, you couldn't even sleep. You'd just be laying in bed thinking about it. Like, oh, I should have done this, and next time I'll do this and this. You have to find that again. And it really doesn't matter what it is. You just have to find that young, obsessive, autistic you. Remember what you love, or find something new that you love. It's in you. You know, computers or guns or woodworking, you know, working on engines, literally anything. There's something that you could just watch YouTube videos of all day. And you need to make the shift of watching to doing. If you've seen 1,000 engine rebuild videos, go buy a cheap engine and do it yourself. Get into it. Researching, going over manuals, getting your hands dirty, getting super sweaty, cursing, being, the setbacks, but then the feeling when you actually pull it off, you know that feeling. There's nothing like it, and that's what you need to find. You need to rekindle that and find a way to turn that into your job. Doesn't matter how old you are. If you're stuck in like you can't pay bills, anyway but your current job, then just do your passion in your spare time instead of doing nothing, just scrolling. You know, brew some mead. Do literally anything. Just do something. Just get your hands moving. And when I say obsession, I mean an active hobby. I don't mean watching movies or reading books or listening to music. I mean something you have to actively participate in. I don't care if it's Lego. Like, just, you have to do something physical out of your head. IRL. If you get into a groove where you're just steadily improving, it takes time. This isn't an overnight thing, but you'll find yourself in a year or two in the middle of a complex thing. Like if it's engines, maybe you find yourself equalizing 4 carburetors, you know, by hand, and you're like, wow. I think back to a year ago. Wow, I couldn't have even, just the thought of even taking a carb apart was really, really intimidating. But here I am now. I've done it 50 times, and I can go out and I can hear I don't even have to go out. I can just turn the thing on and I just hear it. You're like, oh yeah, that one's lean, that one's rich, whatever. You'll find yourself after a little bit where you're getting aggravated that there aren't any videos up at your level, right? You're looking for a very specific thing, and you can't find the videos anymore because everyone is just making, you know, tips for beginners on how to blah blah blah, and you've completely transcended all that stuff. That's when you start stretching. You're like, okay, I'm developing. I actually have some skills here. You could start making video. Like if you find a gap on a thing on YouTube where you're searching for the knowledge, but it's not there. Guess what, pal? It's time for you to make that video. I watched this guy. I can't remember the channel name. I'll put it on screen here. But he has, you know, 1,000 videos of him basically flipping junk motorcycles and scooters, and he just makes an hour-long video of with no music, with no editing, with no nothing fancy at all. Literally just plops the camera down wherever he happens to be working, and it's, to me, it's just so engrossing. Like, because he's so methodical, and he's really young, and he just goes through, and he's like, oh, okay, we need spark, we need fuel, we need to redo the wire, we need to get the gas cleaned up, and blah blah blah. And he turns these absolute junkers that have been sitting, you know, outside for 20 years, and he gets them running and cleaned up and looking nice and selling them. And he makes the money on the sale, but he's also killing it on YouTube. He gets a lot of views. So that's what you need to do. Like, find something that you can lose yourself in, where you have to almost remind yourself to talk to the camera because you're just so in the zone. That's when you have found your sweet spot, when you're in the zone, when you're not even looking at books anymore. You know what you're doing, and when problems arise, you can just fix them because you know everything about it. That's a good place to be. You got to find that, try and monetize that.